What I thought about the other night was something very powerful, which is you've placed an expectation on somebody else so that you don't have to do something for yourself. Your mother is the dialogue you wish you heard from you, the supporting, loving voice to inspire you, to invoke the action and the motivation to do the things that you want to do for yourself. But you've also given yourself a condition, which is my mother has an expectation that she has to come in here to give me love in order for me to do things for myself, to love myself. So really what you're doing is you're holding a condition over yourself from your mother, and she's holding you at gunpoint, and that gun says all the love you wish you had, and you're never getting it. And you're also never doing what you love for yourself, because a part of you wishes that she did that. Now, what you have to do is you have to break the belief, right? Which is you think that your mother needs to give you something. Your mother doesn't need to give you shit. You know what you need for yourself. But you've placed this expectation on your mom to show up for you. That's not a loving relationship. There's something you need to do now, which is let go of that so that you can do that for yourself. I know we often think that we're like, oh, I'll meet this guy and I'll feel all these ways. You probably won't. You'll feel all those ways until you don't, and then you realize he's not enough, and then you will start to adjust him. So there's something very interesting here is that we often leave conditions. You know, for me, it was, I won't, and when I was 21, I was like, the job I make is great. It's a humble job. It doesn't bring too much attention. And that'd be great because when a girl sees me, she won't want to marry me for all of my glamour and flash. She'll want to marry me for the good Jewish boy that I am. What ended up happening is I'd leave expectations on women to see value in me. So it would make me perform more. And then they're like, what the heck's going on here? Like, this is kind of weird. And also what they would see is a person who's not living authentically. Because if I lived authentically, I'd leave the job, I'd start coaching, I'd do all the things that I want to do, I'd get the car that I want, I'd speak the way that I want to speak. So what I was using was the love from this potential woman to stop me from doing things for myself. And another word for that is called self-sabotage. It just happens to be so conveniently that it lines up with things that are, by the way, are rational. That's what I kind of realized, like, okay, rational thinking is a bunch of horseshit. You need to be rational at times. But to think that you make decisions based off rationale is absurd, because you'll find yourself involving with like paradoxes, like where I'm damned if I do, I'm damned if I don't. So I realized something. This was for me, and this is what you're going to do. You're not going to put this condition that somebody needs to make you do it. You're going to do it for you and take that condition off of them and see that the hard thing to do is to let go of that fantasy. Because here's the thing about reality, and you remember, you like this, Jacqueline said it. Fantasy or reality? Fantasy or truth? Right? We often go, but the fantasy has all of those things. No, the fantasy is egocentric. It makes your ego grow. It does not make your spirit grow. What do you really want? So you want your spirit to grow. So what I ended up doing in my life was I said, hey, you know what? Fuck it. What are all the things that are stopping me from being wealthy, dressing the way I want, speaking the way I want? And I realized that I used the woman to stop myself from growing. What do you think my relationships would be? I'd be with a woman that would stop me from growing. So I recognize there's only one thing that you can do. You think that other people are supposed to give you love. You're supposed to give yourself love and let go of what other people give you, because that's the expectation you place on other people that makes you silently manipulative. What you want to be is honest. And so what I did is I left my job. I started coaching. I started making lots of money. I got the car I want, started dressing the way I want. I stopped being friends with all the people I thought I was friends with, because they were not my friends. They were just nice guys who were non-confrontational. And then I started growing up, and I started realizing who my friends were. And I started being surrounded by love. And then now I realized something, that all the reason why I was saying that dialogue was not because I was virtuous, but because I was afraid. Sewing represents something to you, Jasmine. It means something that you could get lost in. You're just not willing to get lost in yourself, because that scares you. It would change the way you see the world. You might not need to ask others for love. And I realized that too. If I started doing things for myself, well then I would be alone. It would just be me and me. What do you think happens? You get surrounded by people that love you and support you in all that you do. Because when you start the sewing, that's when people open the door and go, Jasmine, how's the sewing going? But before then, you have this expectation and you look up to God and you go, hey, send me this savior or whatever it is. Maybe my mom, maybe a boyfriend, maybe my sister giving me a call, right? And it's like, let's stop that. Let's start living. Right? You even said this yourself. Mariola got on this. She's like, I'm getting too old for this. And you said this, I'm getting too old for this. But you're fucking 23. She's 41. Look at it. It's like the same dialogue. You guys are in the same place. It's no different, no better, no worse. Because now you guys are both awake. to start making these decisions. So what I found is something very interesting is that we often leave a condition on ourselves. There was a guy I was working with once. His life left him for a very wealthy guy. And so in his head, he's now moved on past it. He's healed the wound. He has this new girlfriend. He loves this girl. And he was telling me, he's like, look, I had this guy tell me, hey, you're going to lose her if you don't start asking more from yourself. Which is, by the way, true. Men don't like to hear that. But with exceptional women, you will lose them if you don't start asking more from yourself. Because you don't think that it's absolutely it's absolutely cowardice to not ask more from yourself. You have to. The alternative is everything walks away. Or you move forward and eat some shit, one or the other. I'd rather eat shit every time. And not a lot of people know that. So what happened is that this one coach of his told him, hey, you're going to lose a girl like that if you don't start asking more from yourself. You better start learning how to make more money. Because you can't live like this in Los Angeles. And he knew that it was to provoke him, but it really provoked him. And he's like, oh, fuck. He watches one of my posts. He gives me a call. And he goes, hey, I'm really fucked up right now. I don't know what this is about. And I said, well, here's what it's about. He tells me the story. And I go, you don't want to make wealth because it would confirm the insecurity that you need to ask more from yourself. But this time there's no wound. Why don't you do it for you? Not because some other guy took your wife. So he had a negative association to making money because somebody else had money that took away love from him. So what did he hold over himself? I am not worthy of love unless I make money. So what was the insecurity in his head? Don't make money to be worthy of love. So he was protecting himself from more when money had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the fact that he abandoned his values. And this is the thing that's so crazy. We create these bullshit umbrellas that we surround ourselves with other people that keep those umbrellas up. And then guess what? Nothing touches you. You get no water on your skin. But you notice that you surround yourself with other people that confirm that, right? And so this is what's going to be really fun, is that this all has to do with confrontation, right? And the confrontation is mirrored in both ways. You confront people, you get good at confronting yourself. You also start realizing that confrontation does not rattle your self-worth. So for you, Mariella, now that you actually understand there is a condition that you hold over yourself to start feeling and experiencing love that makes everybody feel like they're not enough. And this is going to be the number one denominator for things that never feel like they're enough, that even when it does happen, you will start rejecting it. You will start rejecting it because it's not the way that you imagined it to happen, right? You meet a person, they're lovely, they're beautiful, head to toe, exceptional person. But because you've created all these fantasies in your head and you've been so attached to what you're supposed to experience because you've never given it to yourself, you reject the person. And what do you tell them? They're not enough. Well, really, what are they mirroring? That you're not enough for your love and that you hold things over yourself as a condition. The condition you hold over you, Jasmine, although very on point and very rational and also justified, is I won't do that unless I get love because I'm deserving of love. I never got the hugs and kisses that my mom gave me. And for you, Mariella, it's if I give this to myself, then that means I lived my whole life a lie. There's a lot here that's allowing you to exist when, truth be told, this is what frees you when you remove that condition. So, Mariella, what is that condition that you have for you, just so you can write that down and understand what it is? There's a belief that you have that has been justified. That's the thing. We don't understand this. Like, okay, what do we read? Read a psychology book. Oh, my God, it sucks so much to have trauma, to have parents hurt you, to be missing certain things in your life, to not have hugs and kisses. Everybody goes like this, right? But we're also forgetting something, that we didn't just get hugs and kisses from those people. We've gotten affection. If you didn't get affection, you'd be dead. You actually want to know something interesting about children without mothers? They go numb, they go sick, and they die. And it's crazy to say this, but they start to get, their immune system start to lower, their brain development stops, and they become vegetables. So you're not a vegetable, and here you guys both are. So something must have defied all odds, right? But what do? We feel this because we all feel it, and I recognize this. I have world-class parents, a mother that showed up for me, dedicated her whole life to raising me. I had a father that had time to sit down and guide me. And what was I? Not enough. What was my life? Not enough. And I recognize that is the human paradigm. We need to integrate that so that we stop ruining our lives and robbing ourselves of love that we can receive.